You lie in bed, eyes soft behind closed lids. The world around you stills, but something inside you continues to turn. Even in this hush, this lovely, velvet dark, your body is quietly keeping time. There's no clock ticking, no numbers glowing by the bedside, and yet something knows that night is here, that it's time to slow, to breathe more deeply, to prepare for sleep's quiet descent. That something is the clock inside you, an ancient rhythm etched into the body of every living thing. You don't hear it, but you feel it. You feel it in the way your eyelids grow heavier as the sky dims. You feel it in the way morning light always seems to arrive just when you need it most. This invisible timekeeper lives deep in your brain, nestled in a place called the hypothalamus. There, a cluster of about 20,000 neurons huddle together in a gentle rhythm. They're called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN for short. You can imagine them as fireflies in a jar, blinking softly in harmony. These cells are your circadian core, the quiet metronome that tells your body when to sleep, when to wake, and when to rest in between. The word circadian comes from Latin, circa meaning around and diem meaning day. And that's exactly what this rhythm is, a daily wave flowing through you every 24 hours or so, like a tide that never truly leaves. But here's the curious part, your inner clock doesn't run on perfect time. Left alone, it tends to drift, usually running a little longer than 24 hours. That's why it listens for clues. It watches for light through your eyes. It listens for temperature shifts, food patterns, even social cues. These are its anchors, its gentle nudges back toward the rhythm of the planet. In the morning, sunlight filters through your eyelids. Even before you wake, this light begins to adjust the pace of your inner timekeeper. Photons, tiny packets of light, strike cells in the retina of your eye, which send signals to the SCN. It's like a soft knock at the door of your brain's clock, reminding it that day has begun. And when evening comes, as the light fades and shadows stretch longer, your inner rhythm changes once again. Melatonin begins to rise. We'll follow its moonlight path in Chapter 6, and your body prepares for sleep. But this isn't a simple switch. Your body is always balancing, always adjusting the rhythm of your heart, the tempo of your breath, the pace of your thoughts. This is why traveling across time zones feels so disorienting. Your body clock has to reset, like a violin slowly tuning to a new orchestra. Even the tiniest changes, the dimming of indoor lights, the warmth of a bath, the silence after conversation, all become part of this gentle recalibration. You are more sensitive to time than you may ever know. Some animals are guided by even more elaborate inner clocks. Arctic reindeer, for instance, who live in a land of endless sun and endless dark, shift their rhythms based on the faintest changes in light. Migratory birds sense time with extraordinary precision, their cells counting the length of each day to decide when to fly. Even plants open and close their leaves in steady cycles, like breathing. And so do you. There's something comforting in that, knowing that your body is part of this ancient rhythm shared by every living thing. You don't have to control it. You don't even have to think about it. The clock ticks quietly, faithfully in the dark. And it's not just in your brain. Every cell in your body carries this rhythm. Your liver, your skin, even your immune system, each follows the guidance of the SCN like a lighthouse in the dark, adjusting their own inner timing to match the body's needs. It's called peripheral oscillation, and it's why you feel most alert at certain hours and more vulnerable at others. At night, your blood pressure lowers, your digestion slows, and your muscles relax. Your brain begins to clear away the debris of thought. In this way, the body makes sleep not just possible, but inevitable. And yet, some part of you remains tethered to time. Some part listens not just to the sun or the silence, but to the shape of your life. The regularity of your days, when you eat, when you walk, when you lie down, all feed back into the clock. This is why consistent routines help you sleep. Your body learns them like footsteps on a familiar path. And when you wake, often just moments before your alarm, it's because your inner clock has already prepared for that moment. It has gently raised your body temperature, begun to lighten your breath, and soften the fog of sleep around your thoughts. You may open your eyes and think, how did I know? But your body knew. Your body has always known. Still, not every part of you falls asleep. Some regions of the brain remain active, scanning the world, keeping gentle watch. They don't dream, they listen. And that, dear listener, is where we turn next. For while the whispering clock keeps time within, another part of your mind lingers just above sleep. Watching, waiting, and listening in the dark. Your body sinks into stillness, but your mind doesn't disappear. Sleep wraps around you like fog, soft and heavy. But somewhere inside that fog, certain parts of your brain stay just alert enough to notice. Not fully awake, not fully gone, quiet in between. This is the curious truth of sleep. You never truly leave the world. You just drift further from its edges. While you sleep, your heart slows, your muscles release, and your breath settles into rhythm. Yet within the calm, a small watchtower stays lit, not with urgency, not with fear, but with awareness, dim, distant, but present. The thalamus is one such sentinel. You can think of it as a gatekeeper, a soft filter between your outer senses and your inner world. During the day, it helps you process every sound, every sight, every whisper of movement. But at night, it dims the gate, closes the shutters, gently muting the world. Still, not all the way. If a familiar footstep crosses your porch, or if the baby stirs in the next room, the thalamus knows. It lifts the veil, if only slightly, to let that sound pass through, to rouse you if needed. This subtle watchfulness is part of your survival. An ancient echo of nights in forests and caves, when it mattered if a twig snapped or a storm approached. Even now, in modern stillness, the brain listens on. And it's not alone. Deeper in the brain, near the base of your skull, the reticular activating system plays another quiet role. It's like a gate with a dimmer switch, adjusting how alert or asleep you are, depending on what the world is whispering. A distant siren might flicker it on. A lullaby might ease it back into shadow. It's because of this system that you can hear your name even in a crowded room, or wake up at the soft beep of your alarm. Your mind tunes to what matters, even in dreams. And then there's the amygdala nestled deeper still, a tiny almond-shaped region that monitors emotion and threat. By night, it dreams too, but it also listens, scanning for emotional weight in what slips through. It's why a sudden sound can thread its way into your dream, or why a late-night worry might echo louder than it should. You may have noticed this before, that you sometimes wake feeling as though something pulled you upward, even if there was no sound. A sense, a feeling, a nudge from within. That's these watchful regions working together, noticing changes too soft to wake you fully, but enough to bring you closer to the surface. In lighter stages of sleep, the ones closest to waking, this surveillance becomes even more refined. Your brain balances comfort with caution. It knows where you are. It remembers that you're safe, but it still listens just in case. There's a word for this: sleep inertia, the soft, in-between state where part of your brain wakes before the rest. It's the grogginess, the slowness, the dreamy fog that hugs your thoughts when you first open your eyes. It's a sign that the watchful brain has been gently switching gears. You may also experience hypnagogia, the dreamy visuals and brief hallucinations that arrive just before sleep fully takes you. Fleeting images, soft shapes, distant voices that vanish as soon as you notice them. These are the signals of a brain transitioning between worlds. Part watching, part imagining, part letting go. Even sleep itself isn't one long state. It's a cycle. Every 90 minutes or so, you pass through different stages, from light sleep to deep sleep to REM and back again. And during some of these lighter stages, your awareness subtly returns. That's why you may wake just before your alarm. Your body, already following its rhythm, senses the time, and your brain, never fully unaware, begins to lift the veil. It's not a startle. Not usually. It's more like surfacing from underwater. A slow drift upward, where the light begins to shimmer above. And yet, even in this gentle return, something remains with you from the night. A dream fragment, a distant sound, a feeling you can't name. Because the part of your brain that watches while you sleep doesn't just monitor the world. It also protects the quiet space you fall into. It watches over your breath, your heartbeat, your stillness. It holds the line between sleep and wakefulness with care. Not a guard, a guardian, a soft one. And as you drift again into rest, or as your mind prepares to enter deeper waters, the watching continues. Quiet, steady, patient. It does not interrupt unless it must. It does not force itself forward. It only listens. It only waits. And in that waiting, something else begins. Not waking, not dreaming, but the moment when your mind starts to imagine, when images form without effort, when you begin to slide into the deep, soft waves of REM. Ask ChatGPT. Sleep is not a single sea. It is an ocean with many depths, and every night you drift slowly through them like a diver sinking beneath calm waters. You do not fall straight into dreams. First, your body unwinds. Your breathing evens. Your temperature drops slightly. Muscles release their hold on the day. Your thoughts grow slow and loose like threads unspooling into silence. The descent begins in stages. Light sleep comes first, the surface level. Here, you're still half-tuned to the outside world. A door creak or soft rustle might stir you. But soon, even those sounds fall away and you enter stage 2, where the waking world begins to fade. Your heartbeat slows. Eye movements cease. This is where sleep truly settles. And then you sink deeper into slow-wave sleep, also called deep sleep or stage 3. In this place, your brain emits long, slow waves, delta waves. They're called like ripples across still water. Your body enters its most restorative state. Cells repair. Muscles rebuild. The immune system strengthens. You are no longer watching the world. You are healing. And yet, even in this depth, something waits below. A stranger current where logic twists and images bloom. This is REM sleep. Rapid eye movement. It's a curious name for such a still experience. Because though your body lies quiet, your eyes beneath closed lids dart and flicker as if following scenes invisible to the waking world. This is where dreams live. You don't enter REM right away. On most nights, it arrives after about 90 minutes. Like the tide, it pulls you in gently, then recedes again. Across the night, you'll pass through REM sleep several times, each episode growing longer toward morning, like the sun rising in waves. Your first REM phase might last only 10 minutes. By the last, it could stretch to nearly an hour. During REM, your brain becomes almost as active as it is when you're awake. But the patterns are different. More fluid. More emotional. The rational parts, like the prefrontal cortex, go quiet. Meanwhile, the amygdala, which colors emotion, lights up. So does the visual cortex. It's no wonder dreams feel vivid and strange. Your brain builds stories in this space. Stories not limited by time or gravity. You might fly. You might revisit a memory distorted by feeling. You might meet someone long gone and speak as if no time has passed at all. REM sleep allows the mind to rearrange itself, to process emotion, consolidate memory, and even rehearse for future challenges. Scientists believe that REM helps us sort through the emotional weight of the day. Experiences that felt sharp in the moment are softened, filed, made manageable. In this way, dreams may be a kind of night therapy, a place where your mind clears clutter and finds meaning. And yet, for all its activity, your body stays still. The stillness is no accident. During REM, the brain sends signals to paralyze most of your muscles. It's called REM atonia, and it keeps you from physically acting out your dreams. It's a safety, a stillness that protects. Because while the mind dances, the body must rest. There's beauty in this strange balance. Motion within stillness. A storm of imagery inside a perfectly quiet room. You may have noticed, sometimes, that waking from REM feels different. There's a kind of softness to it. As if part of you is reluctant to return. Your dream might still cling to your mind like mist on your skin. A name. A place. A feeling that lingers just beyond words. This is the effect of REM. It doesn't just entertain, it imprints. It leaves traces in your waking hours, shaping how you feel, how you think, how you remember. And not all dreams are grand. Some are small, quiet, like whispered memories. A walk in an unfamiliar town. A room filled with light. An echo of a childhood smell. Your brain, in REM, is both artist and archivist. It paints and it preserves. It puzzles and it soothes. And each return to REM, each cycle in the night, carries you closer to morning. The architecture of sleep, though invisible, is precise. Across the night, these cycles repeat. Light sleep, deep sleep, REM, like waves that return again and again, smoothing the shore of your thoughts. And while REM holds your dreams, it is not the only rhythm your brain follows. Beneath the dreamt landscapes, beneath even the silence of deep sleep, another pattern forms. One that doesn't live in stories or sleep stages. One that lives in repetition, in gentle expectations, in the quiet math of morning routines. A rhythm you don't consciously feel, but that your brain remembers. The rhythm of habit, the soft mathematics of knowing what comes next. And so, as one dream fades into the dark, your mind prepares to follow a different path. One shaped not by light, but by familiarity. Ask ChatGPT. Each morning, your body wakes not only because the sun returns, but because it expects to. Not by command, but by rhythm. Not because an alarm sounds, but because something in you quietly remembers the shape of waking. You are made of patterns. Invisible ones folded into your thoughts and stitched into your cells. Your brain, like a careful mathematician, learns these patterns through repetition, day after day, sleep after sleep. And in time, it begins to predict. Long before you consciously think about it, your body senses when to begin the shift from rest to wakefulness. Even before the light creeps through the window. Even before the alarm sighs its mechanical breath. It's habit. But not just routine, not just brushing teeth or pouring coffee. It's a deeper kind of knowing. A recognition of rhythm woven through time. The brain uses a process called entrainment, a syncing mechanism. It learns from your regular cycles, what time you rise, when you eat, when you move, when you rest. And like a flock of birds changing direction mid-flight, your internal systems adjust together. Hormones shift. Body temperature rises slightly before you wake. Heart rate increases. The sleep fog begins to lift, all in quiet preparation. And this happens most effectively when your days follow a gentle pattern. When you go to bed at a similar time. When you rise with consistency. When you feed your body and your senses at regular hours. Because when your days are predictable, your brain learns the tempo and starts to play along. There's comfort in this, in knowing that part of you is always preparing, always remembering. Habit in the brain is shaped through repetition. The more often a behavior occurs in the same context, waking at 6:30, for instance, the stronger the neural connection becomes. Over time, the brain doesn't just recall the routine. It anticipates it. This is part of what neuroscientists call predictive coding, the brain's remarkable ability to guess what will happen next based on past patterns. And when it guesses correctly, it uses less energy, because expectation is efficient. So if your alarm usually rings at 6:45 and you usually stir a few minutes before, it's not magic. It's memory woven into physiology. The hippocampus, the brain's archivist, holds the story of your mornings. The basal ganglia, your rhythm keeper, helps carry out the script. Even your dreams may echo the shape of habit. You might dream of brushing your teeth, of waiting in traffic, of pouring water into the same mug each morning. These are not random. They're the footprints of repetition, echoes of your life replayed in sleep. And it works in reverse too. When your routine breaks, when a time change or travel or stress shifts the pattern, you may feel unmoored, foggy, restless. That's your brain searching for rhythm again, trying to find the beat of the song it was playing, trying to remember what comes next. But the beauty of habit is that it can be relearned. The brain is plastic, not in texture, but in its ability to change. You can teach it new rhythms, and it will listen. Slowly, quietly, it will listen, just as it listened the first time. And over many nights, it will begin again, to anticipate, to prepare, to gently wake you, not because of noise, but because of knowing. And that's why, even without looking at the clock, your body sometimes knows it's time to rise. Your mind has kept track, not in minutes, but in patterns. Like a river that learns the bend of its banks. Your sleep learns the shape of your days. And from that shape, a kind of internal time blooms. But what happens when there are no clocks? No light, no cues, no rhythms to follow? Can the body still keep time? Or will the inner clock drift? Alone in the dark? That question leads us now into the deepest chambers of timekeeping. Into darkness, isolation, and the strange science of time without a clock. Ask ChatGPT. Imagine a room without light. No windows. No clocks. No sound of birds or hum of distant traffic. Just silence, perfect, steady silence. Now imagine you're in that room, not for an hour, but for days. No way to know when the sun has risen. No idea how many hours you've slept. Only your breath, your body, and the quiet tick of something you can't quite feel, but that continues, deep inside. This is not a thought experiment. It's something scientists have done. In the 1960s, researchers began placing volunteers in underground bunkers and deep caves, places sealed from sunlight, sound, and all external cues. These experiments were strange, quiet journeys into what the body does without time. What they found was extraordinary, even in total darkness. Even when all clocks were removed, the body still kept time. Participants would sleep, wake, eat, and dream, not randomly, not chaotically, but in cycles close to 24 hours. Not perfect, but close. Some drifted slightly longer, 24.5 hours, sometimes even 25. But the rhythm persisted. A slow, steady tide that refused to vanish. Where does that rhythm live? It lives in your biology. In your suprachiasmatic nucleus, the tiny cluster of neurons introduced back in Chapter 1. And beyond that, in your cells. Every cell in your body carries little molecular clocks, feedback loops of proteins and genes that rise and fall across the day, syncing like dancers moving to a music only they can hear. Even in isolation, these dancers continue. Your body remembers light even without seeing it. It remembers sleep even without silence. It remembers when you are, not by watching the world, but by listening inward. Still, the rhythm can drift. That's the other thing these cave studies revealed. Without the cues of sunlight, sound, or social contact, some people began to feel adrift. Days felt longer or shorter. Sleep cycles extended. Time blurred. This phenomenon is called free-running. When your circadian clock is left to its own devices without environmental anchors. And it shows how much our inner clock depends on the outer world. Not because it needs to know what time it is, but because it needs context. Light helps reset the internal rhythm. So does temperature. So does routine. So do conversations, meals, music. Each one is like a lighthouse in the fog, reminding your body where it is in the day. This is why astronauts on the International Space Station who orbit the Earth every 90 minutes and see 16 sunrises a day must follow strict lighting schedules. Artificial day and night carefully maintained to help their bodies know when to sleep and when to rise. The body is adaptable, yes, but it needs rhythm to feel well. When that rhythm breaks, when night shifts, travel, or insomnia bend it too far, the body and brain become confused. Focus fades. Mood changes. Immunity weakens. This is why a good night's sleep isn't just about how much sleep, but when that sleep occurs. You may feel this if you've ever stayed up all night, then tried to sleep during the day. The sleep might come, but it doesn't feel the same. You wake groggy, adrift, unanchored. Your inner clock needs the tether of morning, of light, of gentle habit. But still, it's comforting to know that even without those cues, even without sunlight or ticking clocks, something inside you keeps time, like a lantern in the dark. Even in the stillest silence, there is rhythm, even in isolation. You carry a memory of the world. And what holds this memory? What whispers to the body? It is night now, and invites the breath to slow? A tiny molecule, a chemical signal, soft as moonlight. Its name is melatonin, and it waits just behind your eyes to be released when night begins. Ask ChatGPT. Night doesn't fall all at once. It arrives in shades. In cooling air, in softening light, in a hush that settles over the skin of the world. And within you, something stirs. A chemical. A signal. A kind of moonlight from inside. Its name is melatonin, and it drifts through you gently like dusk itself. You don't feel it arrive, but you feel what it does. Your eyes grow heavy. Your thoughts slow. The body loosens its grip on the day. Not because of will, but because of the soft biochemical cue that says it's time. Melatonin is made in the pineal gland, a tiny structure tucked deep in the center of your brain about the size of a grain of rice. Ancient philosophers once called it the seed of the soul. Scientists now know it as a clock whisperer, one that listens to light and answers with darkness. During the day, light enters your eyes and suppresses melatonin. That's how your body knows to stay alert, active, engaged. But as daylight fades, the light-sensitive cells in your retina send a different message to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and from there, a quiet signal travels to the pineal gland. Then, slowly, melatonin begins to flow. It does not knock. It drifts. It circulates through your bloodstream like fog through a valley. Subtle but certain, changing the landscape of your consciousness. Your body temperature begins to drop. Your blood pressure lowers. Your digestive system eases its pace. Muscles relax. Breathing deepens. You do not command these things. They simply unfold. Because melatonin is not a sleep switch, it's a sleep invitation. It doesn't force you into slumber. It opens the door. It dims the lights of your awareness and draws the curtain between you and the waking world. And the longer darkness lingers, the stronger melatonin's presence becomes. This is why screens at night, bright, cold light, can confuse your rhythm. Your body sees the glow and thinks it's still day. Melatonin retreats. Sleep is delayed. And the whole cycle stretches thin. But when you allow the dark to return, to read by a warm lamp or sit in silence or step into the hush of evening, your body remembers. Melatonin flows again. And it does more than ease you towards sleep. It tells your internal systems this is the quiet part of the day. It speaks to your immune system, your gut, your mood. It whispers across the body in subtle, essential ways. Even animals follow its moonlight rhythm. In birds, it times migration. In bears, it helps govern hibernation. In some creatures, it shifts fur color with the seasons, light in summer, dark in winter. Guided not by temperature, but by melatonin's gentle tide. And in humans, it helps shape your night. That soft drowsiness before bed? That sense that it's time to slow? That's melatonin's touch. It does not sing. It hums. A low lullaby beneath your breath. Saying, let go now. Drift. And you do. You lie down. Your limbs soften. Your eyes grow still. Sleep soon. And yet, while melatonin opens the way, and dreams begin to take form, something else begins to happen. Your brain, even in sleep, senses time passing. Not in hours, but in feeling. It begins to anticipate morning. The light has not yet come. The alarm is not yet near. But still, you begin to feel its approach. As if something inside you is already listening for the day. How does the brain know? When waking is near, before a sound, before the sun? The answer lies in a strange gift of the mind. The ability to guess what comes next. Even in dreams, it's time to follow that thought, into the quiet mystery of the sound of an alarm approaching. Ask ChatGPT. There's a quiet miracle that happens some mornings. You wake just seconds before your alarm. No sound, no cue, just a soft sense it's time. Not from logic, not from calculation, but from a feeling. Like your body was waiting just beneath the surface, listening for something only it could hear. How does that happen? To understand, we have to follow the brain into one of its most remarkable habits. Prediction. Your brain is not just a receiver of information. It is a maker of expectations. From the moment you wake to the moment you sleep, it is constantly and quietly trying to guess what will happen next. It does this to keep you safe, to save energy, to make the world feel smooth and understandable. Every sound you hear, every movement you make is filtered through this invisible lens of prediction. When you walk across a room, your brain is not just reacting to the floor, it's anticipating where your foot will land. And when you lie in bed, asleep, your brain is still listening. Not for content, but for pattern. Not for noise, but for timing. If you set your alarm every morning at the same time, even approximately, your brain learns the rhythm. It becomes familiar. And in sleep, familiarity is powerful. You are made of rhythms. The rhythm of the breath, the rhythm of your heart, the rhythm of your sleep cycles, and quietly, the rhythm of your rising. This is why you often wake during light sleep, not deep sleep. Because your brain senses where you are in the cycle. And if your body anticipates the alarm, it gently guides you upward into that lighter layer of sleep. So waking feels smoother. So the day doesn't start with a jolt. In a sense, your mind prepares the stage for waking. And it begins that preparation before the curtain rises. This is part of a process called predictive processing. A theory that suggests your brain is always building a model of the world. Not just reacting to input, but predicting it, updating it, learning from the gap between expectation and reality. And in the quiet, slow-moving world of sleep, this process still hums beneath the surface. If you've ever stirred awake moments before your alarm, or had a dream that ends with a sound only to wake and realize the sound is real, you've felt this overlap. Your brain, sensing the approach of the alarm, may begin to weave it into your dreams. A subtle folding of outer and inner experience. It's as if your mind creates a gentle on-ramp from dreaming to waking. A way to soften the divide, to cushion the crossing. And the more consistent your schedule, the more accurate this inner model becomes. When you wake at the same time each day, your body begins to prepare before the beat. Your body temperature rises slightly. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing becomes a little more alert. Your brain waves shift into lighter sleep. All of this happens quietly beneath awareness. Until one morning you simply open your eyes. This doesn't mean alarms are unnecessary, but it does mean your body is doing more than passively waiting for the sound. It is watching for it, feeling toward it, anticipating it like a far-off bird call before the sun breaks. This same predictive power helps you in waking life, too. It's how you catch a falling glass, how you finish someone's sentence, how you know a melody before the final note is played. Your brain is always guessing, and refining that guess, in the most delicate ways. And prediction doesn't require consciousness. It lives deeper than thought, deeper than awareness. It lives in the biology of expectation. A soft network of memories, rhythms, and tiny chemical signals that say, soon it will be time to rise. You may not know the time, but your body does. You may not hear the sound, but your mind already leans toward it. And in this way, you wake not just because the alarm rings, but because your inner world has made room for it. Still, as beautiful as this is, there's another layer to this waking dance. Another force that stirs you near dawn. Not mental, but chemical. A quiet wave that crests at just the right moment. It does not shock or startle. It prepares. It readies your body with warmth, with alertness, with subtle energy. Its name is cortisol, a word often tangled with stress. But here, it arrives like sunlight. And in the next chapter, we will follow that wave, the gentle jolt of cortisol, and see how it signals the first breath of morning. Before your eyes have even opened, ask ChatGPT. before your eyelids flutter, before you remember where you are, something stirs quietly inside you. Not your alarm, not your mind, but a whisper from your body, a signal soft and sure that morning is near. This signal is a hormone called cortisol. You may have heard its name before, spoken in tones of stress and tension. But here it is something else entirely. Here, in the early light of your inner world, cortisol is not a crash of thunder. It is the warmth of the sun through closed curtains. It is your body's way of saying, wake slowly, rise gently, begin. Cortisol is released by your adrenal glands, two small organs sitting atop your kidneys like tiny caps. They are part of your endocrine system, a network that speaks in chemical messages, not words. Each morning, as your body senses the time to wake, a natural rise in cortisol begins, long before you're aware of it. This is called the cortisol awakening response, a quiet wave that helps transition you from sleep to wakefulness. It increases your alertness. It raises your blood sugar slightly, preparing your muscles to move. It nudges your immune system into readiness, and it subtly boosts your blood pressure and metabolism. But none of this feels urgent. Not here. Not in the stillness of early morning. You feel it as a kind of readiness, the moment when opening your eyes feels less like a task, and more like a possibility. This gentle surge of cortisol is a natural part of your circadian rhythm, that 24-hour cycle we've traveled with since Chapter 1. Peaks around 30 to 45 minutes after waking, but it begins rising just before. And when your schedule is consistent, this rhythm becomes beautifully precise. Your body anticipates the day not just mentally, but chemically. Even the very air you breathe may feel different in those early moments. Cooler, crisper, infused with a subtle energy that didn't exist in the night. That is cortisol, too, preparing the senses, clearing the fog of sleep, reminding your body that it is time to rejoin the world. And though cortisol can be elevated during stress, its morning role is not stressful. It is supportive. It is like a warm hand on your back, saying, you are ready. Think of it this way. Melatonin lulls you into sleep like moonlight. Cortisol wakes you like sunrise. One signals the hush of rest, the other, the quiet invitation of morning. And just as light suppresses melatonin, light encourages cortisol. This is why stepping into sunlight after waking feels so bracing, so clearing. Natural light floods through your eyes, travels to your brain, and helps calibrate your cortisol rhythm for the day. If you rise at the same time most mornings, your body becomes a master of this internal choreography. Cortisol, melatonin, temperature, alertness, each following one another like notes in a song. But if your sleep is irregular, if your mornings change too often, or if you wake up in darkness without exposure to light, this rhythm can falter. Cortisol may spike too early or too late, and the morning feels harder, foggy, unsteady, out of tune. This is not failure. It is simply the body asking for rhythm, for predictability, for time it can trust. You can gently restore that rhythm by letting light touch your eyes early in the day, by rising at a regular hour, by welcoming the world with stillness instead of haste. And when you do, cortisol becomes your ally, a silent companion that helps lift you from sleep into something like readiness. Still, it does not act alone, because even with the soft rising of hormones, even with rhythm and routine, your sleep is not one continuous drift. Something else happens each night, just beneath awareness. Tiny awakenings, brief flickers of consciousness, so short you don't remember them, but they shape your night. They are part of your body's secret dance, a way of checking the world, adjusting the breath, and preparing, sometimes, to sense the alarm before it sounds. And so, as cortisol warms your cells, and the world begins to reach for you, we'll now explore the mystery of micro-wakefulness, those hidden moments when your mind briefly rises and returns again to sleep. Ask ChatGPT. Sleep is not one long, unbroken stretch of silence. It is not a single descent into stillness. It is, instead, a gentle rhythm of rising and falling. A tide that moves not only between stages, but also between moments of wakefulness and rest. Even on your deepest nights, you wake up a little, but you don't remember it, because these wakings are short, just seconds, sometimes less. They slip beneath awareness like birds gliding through fog. They're called micro-awakenings, brief flickers of consciousness built into the design of sleep. You might stir slightly, roll over, adjust a pillow, sigh, and slip back under, as if nothing had changed. And yet something did change. These moments are your body's way of checking in. Are you safe? Is the room quiet? Is anything wrong? Your brain does not ask with words. It asks through sensation. The feel of the sheets, the temperature of the air, the weight of silence. Most of the time, everything feels fine. So your body returns to sleep. No alarm, no disruption. But sometimes in these micro moments, you adjust. You move out of a dream. You feel a distant sound. You drift closer to the surface. Not all the way up, but close enough that waking is easier when the time comes. You might have 10 to 20 of these awakenings each night. They're part of healthy sleep. They allow your body to shift position, your brain to reorient, your systems to check in with each other, then return to rest. Some researchers believe they serve an ancient purpose, a survival feature from when we slept under stars, when a crack of a branch or the scent of something nearby needed to be noticed. Even now, in locked rooms with soft blankets and quiet walls, your brain still performs its checks, like a lighthouse beam sweeping the coast. Not intrusive, not alert, just aware. And sometimes, these micro-wakeful moments occur close to morning. Your body, already sensing that it's nearly time to rise, stirs a little longer, remains closer to waking, begins the process of pre-waking. You shift, you stretch without knowing, you blink behind closed eyes. And if your alarm is set for 6:45, and your brain has tracked that pattern night after night, it might time a micro-awakening at 6:42, just enough to put you in the perfect phase of sleep, to wake with ease, as if it heard the future. And maybe in some soft sense it did, because these tiny awakenings, though forgotten by morning, help your brain prepare. They bridge the world of dreams with the world of time. They smooth the transition between the inward and outward gaze. They're so brief that you'd never notice, unless something unusual happened. A sharp noise, a dream that twists suddenly, a sensation that lingers just long enough to wake you fully. And when you do wake, whether from an alarm or from within, you may feel a faint memory of something, a shape, a color, the sense that you were almost aware. That is a micro-wake lingering, a note still ringing after the song ends. In people with certain sleep disorders, these micro-awakenings become too frequent, interrupting the deeper cycles, scattering rest into pieces. But in healthy sleep, they are seamless, invisible, essential. They allow the body to remain connected to the night, while still drifting through its deepest layers. And when your body doesn't wake before the alarm, when you rise with a sudden jolt from deep sleep, you often feel groggy, disoriented, as though your mind didn't have time to reach the surface before you were pulled out. That's the absence of pre-wakefulness, the interruption of a rhythm that prefers to rise like a tide, not like an earthquake. And so these flickers, these blips of wakefulness, may be one of the keys to why you often rise just before the alarm. Not because you stayed awake, not because you counted minutes, but because your brain gently surfed these waves, rising slowly until you arrived at the edge of wakefulness, right on time. Even in your deepest rest, you remain in soft communication with the world. But how does your body keep this remarkable time? How does it know when enough rest has passed? Even in the dark, even in dreams, there is one final idea to explore, one final truth to sink into, that perhaps you do not need the alarm at all, because you are the clock. Ask ChatGPT. There is a quiet truth tucked inside you. You don't carry time. You are time. Your breath, your blood, your sleep, your dreams, all of them follow rhythm, follow pattern, follow memory. You are a symphony of clocks. Some tick in your brain, some pulse through your organs, some are written in the very genes of your cells, and together they form a living timepiece, not made of metal, but of light and silence and sleep. We often look outside ourselves for structure, the ticking watch, the digital glow, the scheduled reminder, but the truest clock has always been within you. Your circadian rhythm, that deep 24-hour cycle, doesn't begin when the alarm rings. It begins with your eyes sensing light, your skin feeling temperature, your mind recalling the shape of yesterday's morning. It's not just biology, it's memory, the memory of rising, the memory of light, the memory of what comes next. Every morning you rise at the same time, you teach your body what morning feels like, and slowly, gently it learns. So on those days when you stir just before your alarm, know that this is not accident. It is precision. It is trust. Your body trusted the rhythm. Your brain prepared the moment. You rose because something inside you whispered, now. And perhaps that's the most beautiful truth. You've always had this wisdom. Long before clocks, long before calendars, you rose with the sun. You rested with the dark. Your heartbeat matched the rustle of wind through trees. You are part of the natural world, not separate from time, but woven into it. Even now, in a world of glowing screens and buzzing notifications, your inner rhythms still move like moonlight through water. You are the clock, and the calendar, and the hourglass. And if you learn to listen, to wake with consistency, to sleep with care, to trust the quiet rhythms within, you'll find that your body begins to know again. Know when to rise, when to rest, when to let go of thought, and drift. You may still set the alarm, but it becomes an echo, not a command. It becomes a chime that follows your waking, not one that causes it. And you begin to feel it, the soft difference between waking from need and waking from readiness. It's not about perfection. It's not about control. It's about remembering that the rhythm lives inside you, that your body, without a single word, knows how to carry you from dream to dawn. Even when you forget, it remembers. Even when the world feels noisy, it listens. Even when the night feels long, prepares. You are not waiting for the day to begin. You are already in motion, already arriving. Each breath is a marker. Each blink, a beat. Each night's sleep, a journey through your own celestial clockwork. You may not feel it, but it feels you. And now, as the final pages of this night fold closed, you can rest in that truth. You are time. You are rhythm. You are the bell, the breath, the hour. And as sleep takes you deeper, gentler than before, you let go of the ticking and feel only the silence, the space between seconds, where dreaming begins. And when morning comes, your body will know, not because it was told, but because it remembers, because it is the clock, because even in sleep, you are quietly preparing to wake, right on time,